What's up, guys? Well, I tell you what, yesterday was a blast. I had a great time shooting at the Sony event, and man, that A7 III was just fire. I loved that camera. Had a really beautiful image. The lenses were really expensive. I used I think 2 or 3 different G Master lenses, and the 85 1.4, the 12 to 24 f4, and the 24 to 70 2.8 G Master, and the 24 was a very fun lens. A very similar focal length to the current lens that I'm using. I'm using a 12mm Panasonic, so it's equivalent to the 24 full frame. Had a great time. Thank you, Sony, and everybody who put that event together. I've never been to anything quite like that before, and if you ever get a chance to go to a Sony Alpha event, even if you're not a Sony user, they rent out cameras, you can try lenses, and just try something new. I mean, I think as creatives, at least for me, my favorite part of being a creative is the gear. I'm such a gearhead. I wish I could use every system. A few of the things I wanted to really go over and touch base with, I got a chance to finally use that Sony 120 frames per second slow motion, and obviously on this Panasonic here I don't get the GH5, like 180 frames per second and all that stuff. So I had a real fun time shooting the slow motion, and they had those break dancers, and it was just a really cool time to try out that slow motion. And there was a few cool shots where I was able to videotape the guys as they're spraying on that stuff to make them a little bit more slick on the dance floor, and just when they were spinning around their heads and just making a bunch of quick moves. It was really cool to be able to shoot all that in slow motion, and I never have been able to experience that on my Panasonic here, so that was a cool big plus. Obviously, everybody knows the autofocus, and I've only heard it as like the myth and legend, or seen it on YouTube videos, but it was really cool to be able to experience that, and it made it, not as bad that it didn't have a flip out screen, because I knew it was always in focus. But Sony, I mean, if you can come up with a flip out screen, man, you would just totally dominate. Yeah, I really enjoyed shooting on it. It wasn't. It was a little bit heavier setup than my Panasonic here. The Panasonic is a pretty light camera, so the Sony is a little bit heavier, but I didn't notice it too much. I really enjoyed it. Sony really treats their customers well, and the creatives, and it's not hard to believe that they're running the show right now, and really pumping out a lot of great stuff for their customers, and they're treating their customers right. So if you get a chance to go to the Sony event, I would highly suggest you do so. It's a great experience, and you will not regret it. A few tips I would have to say is get there early. The parking is a little crazy. There's a lot of people that want to go to this event. Be patient. They do have a lot of gear and a lot of lenses to check out. Camera bodies wasn't as big of a deal, but there are some lenses that I just couldn't get. I wanted to try the 24 1.4, and that lens was pretty much checked out every time I went to go see if I can get it. Just be patient, and if you want the food, which I didn't get to partake in it, it was already gone by the time we were too busy just shooting. So if you really want a bite to eat and you're hungry, I'd say eat before you go. Don't worry about the food there, because the experience alone is just way better just to focus on shooting. One thing you guys want to make sure you do is bring your SD cards. I actually maxed out one, so I was very happy to have a second one. And make sure that you bring a fast enough card, the SDXC. so that you can shoot in the high 4K. And the other thing I always suggest is, bring anything you would need accessory-wise. I, brought a little mini tripod and my microphone, obviously, to do some video work. So, bring everything so you can test out the Sony camera to its full potential. You're never gonna have too much memory. I had a blast. Some great stuff coming out of Sony, and I'm looking forward to 2019 and see what else they have in store for us. Maybe an A7S III, but we'll have to see. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the future.